everybody, and welcome back to my channel. This is your girl, Dan Schmel. So today's video is going to be about the different sources I use to help me get into investing into stocks, how I started. A little bit of backstory about how I actually got into stocks. I got into stocks, I think, back in 2018. So roughly about 2 years ago when I started working. I just felt like that was the smartest thing to do, and probably a good way to manage my money at the time. So what I did was I looked up a few articles, watched a bunch of videos, and trying to get like a good idea or a general idea as to like what it is or what to do when it comes to investing into stocks. And so after doing that, I took a leap of faith and I went ahead and bought a few stocks. I'd say I bought about maybe five different stocks, company stocks. And I think I bought five in every single one of those five stocks in every single one of those five companies. And so with time, I was just looking at them, monitoring them, and seeing how they were doing. Well, back in 2018, I really didn't have the drive I actually have right now. And just the fact that I was so engulfed with work and other day-to-day things that I forgot about the stocks. So all through 2018, at some point in 2018, I ended up forgetting that I had stocks. I bought stocks. I was going through a fad because I bought stocks, I bought crypto and things like that, and then I just forgot I had them. And then 2019 came by, and I think somewhere in the middle of 2019, I remembered about those stocks. I went ahead and looked how they were doing. They were doing pretty good. So fast forward February of 2020, I lost my job at this point. February and March of 2020, when the stock market crashed, I lost my job. And I was just looking up on the news, and everybody was just talking about the stock market crash. And that's when I remembered that, oh crap, I have my stocks. And by the way, guys, the platform I currently use is Robinhood. So I went back to my Robinhood account, and yeah, I lost a lot. I lost a lot of money. But anyways, I sat down. I realized that okay, the reason why I lost most of my money was because of the COVID. And I figured, well, I can take advantage of this situation and turn it to my advantage. And that's what I did. So today I'm going to be talking about the different sources I use to teach myself to be better prepared or to be better knowledgeable when it comes to investing into stocks. Now, a quick disclaimer again, I am not a professional. I'm not a stock broker or anything like that. But the whole reason why I'm doing these videos is because I feel like I can relate to many people out there when it comes to like, I don't know where to start, how do I start, or where do I begin. And so I just feel like sharing my story and sharing what I did is going to be beneficial to you. Again, the whole purpose of my platform is for us to learn from each other. So tip number 1. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. YouTube. There are a lot of videos out there that explain like in detail, or quick videos or quick learns on how to explain the basics of what the stock market is and how to invest in stocks. They go over the basic principles of like buying when it's low and selling when it's high. They go over like the key things you want to look out for when it comes to investing and picking out the stocks that you want to invest in. And they talk about like dealing with the market volatility. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Market volatility. They talk about all those things. And I'm going to go ahead and probably link some of these videos down in my info section. I know the YouTuber that I usually follow a lot these days is called Charlie Chang. I happened to stumble upon his channel while I was watching a whole lot of his YouTube videos, and I really liked it because he talks about every month, he talks about his picks for the month, and they're actually very detailed, and you see that there's a lot of effort gone through in selecting the stocks that he thinks. Again, it's all about everybody's opinion, honestly. Even when it comes to like the best analysts or like Warren Buffett's. He gives his own opinion, so that's what he also does. Also, aside from the stocks thing that he has going on his channel, another good thing that he actually does is he talks about the different streams of income that he has, and like what has actually helped him to grow as an entrepreneur and to be as successful as he is right now, and be more successful, honestly. Tip number 2. Number 2, books. Yes, I know some people don't like reading books, the actual physical one. If you're that kind of person, there are a lot of the books today have audio versions on Amazon Kindle, I believe so. Yeah, so you can always purchase an audio version, and whenever you're on the road or driving from one state or from one city to another, wherever, you can always hit the play button and listen to what they have to say, honestly. But books. I read a lot of books before I started investing. I read a lot of books. Although I do want to say most of the books that I read before investing were not related to stock. Some of them were related to being financially smart and how to prepare for your future and things like that. But they were not actually related or directly related to investing into stocks and how to. The reason that I just did it that way was because I was already watching a lot of YouTube videos, so I was already getting like a general gist of what I need to do. And number 2 is I read a lot of articles online, articles on Google, and so I'll link down some of the few articles that I used. But the reason why I did articles a lot was probably when I was still researching or I was just asking questions around. I went on Google, probably Googled one term related to the stock market. That led me to an article, opened the article, read it, probably found something that I didn't necessarily understand, so I would go ahead and look up whatever it is that I didn't understand, and that would lead me to another article, and I would read. So that's pretty much how the trend actually went on for me. So I didn't even necessarily feel the need to read a book into investing into stocks and actually to start investing. But I do say that it's important to read books, especially if you're going to do it. Don't necessarily do it my way, but if you want to do the right way, it's going about reading books related to the stock market and how to get into the stock market. And I'm going to talk about like 2 books I'm actually currently looking at. One of them is called The Broke Millennial. I can't even say that right. And the other one is The Simple Path to Success. The first one is like a guide, literally a guide for millennials like me and like you, who is probably currently watching, how to invest and how to get into the stock market. And the other one is more of like it's not, I wouldn't say it's not related to our current situation in the world, but it's actually also a really good book too, in terms of like it gives you a different perspective on how to handle the stock market and get into the stock market, its importance and the nooks and crannies. But like a good starting point would be the Broke Millennial book that I'm going to put somewhere here, and the other one is going to be The Simple Path to Success. So I'm going to put a picture of the 2 books right here, and you take a look, and you guys can go and get them. Coming back to the books I read before investing into stocks. Now the reason why I still want to mention them is because although they didn't necessarily like talk about investing in stocks, they actually did help me shape my person and help me self-help. They are good and great self-help book and personal development books that I know anybody can benefit from them. One of them was the 5-second rule. I really like that one. I can't remember who was the author, but pretty much the book was just like the biggest gist, honestly. I'm just giving a quick summary of all these things. Is for everything that, if you are to do any activity and you feel like you're being lazy about it, just use the 5-second rule. And the 5-second rule pretty much says just count from 5 backwards. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just get up and go do it. And that gives you, for some reason, it's weird, but it actually kind of works. I mean, it did work for me. A lot of times I used to be very lazy. I used to be very lazy and procrastinate a lot. So after reading that book, I started like applying the little things, like folding my laundry. I know that sounds dumb, but folding my laundry, or doing this or doing that, or writing a paper, writing an essay, or anything. I just think 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and boom, I just go right into it. So that's what it did for me. Another great book that I really loved and enjoyed is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think you're probably going to find it amongst like the top 5 or top 10 books to read when it comes to like self-help or personal development, or in terms of like making money or becoming a millionaire or things like that. Now, the reason why I loved that book was because the mentality that I gathered and learned from that book kind of like reminded me of the Bamileke people, which are a tribe in Cameroon, and it's the tribe I come from. More of the mentality of like thinking of how to make money and how you have money work for you and not you work for the money. Tip number 3. So among the many articles that I read and came across, some of the helpful websites that I found was Motley Fool, Zach's Rank, and even analyst recommendations on Robinhood. Usually, they don't have it for all companies on their website or their app platform, but usually when you scroll down to the bottom of a company stock, they usually have like analyst rating, like what analysts think of the stock, if you should buy, if you should sell, if you should hold, and so on. And usually they have like this little box. Sometimes those boxes contain the reasons why, but I know that I don't personally go out and find exactly why when it comes to Robinhood and their analyst recommendations. But I know that on Motley Fool, on the other hand, whenever you open a link on their website related to a company stock and whether it's a good buy or not, they have a detailed explanation as to why it's a good buy, how it's going to affect the market, and how it's going to do well in the market and things like that. And that's one thing I really love about Motley Fool. I love Motley Fool. They do all the homework for you, and the way they present it to you is they give it to you and it makes so much sense, in where it's like they don't necessarily take away the data and all the information that they have used to come up with the conclusion that they came up with, but they deliver the message to you in a way where it's like, if you are not someone who is familiar with the stock market, you can still understand it and you can still make an informed decision. Oh, I blanked out for a second. You can still make an informed decision about what you want to do in respect to that stock in question. And so while I'm mentioning all of these, I would like to say though that it's important that you know why you are investing in this particular stock, because usually what I have noticed is that sometimes when I go on Motley Fool has probably recommended that stock as a good stock to buy, say in the month of June, and then I go to Zach's Rank and I look it up, and Zach is like, well, no, that's a sell. And so I go on Robinhood and I look at that company stock and I think it's either increasing, it's either rising, or it's either dropping, whichever. And I mean, Robinhood, they don't always have analyst recommendations for all the companies that they have on their platform, especially if you're not using the gold membership, if you're not on a paid subscription. At least is what I think. So say you're in a situation where it's kind of contradicting, where Motley is telling you to buy and Zach is telling you to sell. Now it can be confusing, but do not be alarmed. Go back and read what Motley is saying, why they're telling you to buy that stock. Does it make sense to you? If it doesn't make sense, go and look more into the market, into the industry that company particularly operates in, and see what exactly is going on, and then make an informed decision. I'm not saying one is wrong and the other one is right, or this one is better than the other. There's a reason why Motley think it's a good stock to buy, and there's a reason why Zach is thinking it's a good stock to sell. And not to say one is wrong and the other is right, but both are right in light of their own perspective. Now it's up to you to make the decision, and you want to be sure that the decision that you're making is the best decision. And that's why I urge you more than ever to always do your due diligence, do your homework. That's very important, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation where it's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and listen to Motley, and you just go ahead and buy that stock. Well, what may happen is that 2 weeks down the line after buying that stock, it's still tanking, and you're like, well, I guess Motley Fool is not a good website, or it's not reliable enough. I should have listened to Zach. But guess what? Say you go ahead and sell that stock at that point. What may happen is that by the 3rd or 4th week of that month, that stock kicks up. And guess what? The reason why it kicked up is because of what Motley said as to why they think it's a good stock to buy. Tip number 4. So another great source that I do recommend are podcasts. The one I particularly prefer are Snacks Daily. Snacks Daily is a podcast affiliated with Robinhood, but I know for a fact that they do not talk about the stocks you should buy. They don't give you stock recommendations on Snacks Daily. The reason why I bring it up here is because of what they talk about. What they do talk about is different financial news or current events and how that relates to the stock market. And the reason why I actually love it is the way they deliver it. Many a times I've found myself reading a lot of articles on Yahoo Finance, and I'm not going to lie, most of the time it doesn't make sense to me. The verbiage and all that, it doesn't get through me. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't even see why I should even pay attention, but I know I need to pay attention to it. And so one thing I love about Snacks Daily is that they take all that information, chop it up in little pieces, break it apart, mix it up together, and deliver it to you in the way that it's easier to understand. For someone like me who has sometimes hard times understanding what Yahoo Finance is saying and what the articles are talking about, whenever I go to Snacks Daily and listen to what they have to say about that same particular piece of information that I read on Yahoo Finance, it makes a lot of sense to me. It's so much easier to understand at that point. And I know for some people, you might think I'm kind of dumb at this point, but it's okay. It's okay. A girl is just trying to learn and make some coins at the same time. So I'll do what I gotta do. Another great thing that I love about Snacks Daily is that whenever they're delivering the information and the things that they're talking about on their platform, they take that information and they try to see how that can be related to all other companies that can be associated to that piece of information or to the companies that are talking about. So they try to make sure that they cover everything that needs to be covered or should be covered by that particular piece of information. So the last tip I have for you guys today is talking to people. Talk to people. Talk to as many people as you can. There's always something new you can learn from somebody. You may not be directly related to the stock market, but with what you already know, you can find a link and see and find out how that can work to your advantage. And that particularly worked well for me because I know there are some stocks today that I own that I definitely would not have owned them if I didn't talk to people around me, find out their own opinion, what they think, and especially like when to buy, sometimes in my case, and things like that. And if you don't particularly know that many people, or you are limited to the number of people that you know, or you know that are into stock, I know a great platform that worked for me was Meetup. Meetup is an app where you can find groups of people with similar interests like you, and that just get together and just to talk about it and pick up things from there. I know I use it for different reasons. Yeah, I use it to meet people that are into the stock market and that have been doing it for a long time, that have been doing it for the same amount of time as me, and you know, we just get together and talk about our viewpoints here and there and through whatever it is that we've learned or that we know about the stock market. And it's great and it's very helpful. Now the advantage that you may have also at this point is that a lot of the meetings are now virtual. So if say you are trying to get I don't know, the viewpoint of somebody in the stock market, say in a different state, like Boston or like New York or like, I don't know, California, I don't know, wherever it is that you want, all you need to do is change your location and join the group there and ask to be a member and just be there at the meeting. That's it. Be there at the meetings that they have. And most of their meetings happen via Zoom, so you don't even need to be in person. That's why I'm like, great advantage to use right now because of COVID. People are limiting their physical interaction, so virtual meetings is the way to go right now. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys had a great time. Again, like I said, feel free to go ahead and add whatever you think can be helpful to us on the comment section down below so that we can all grow together. I'm a firm believer of making gains together. Let's get that $1 million together. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, great rest of your day. And please, 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 I know you guys hear this a lot, but please go ahead, like, subscribe, and turn on the notification button on my channel. And tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's grow and make gains together.